राधर श्रीवास गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा हरे रामा राम राम हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So welcome back to the Bhagavad Gita Vishwanath Thakur Sarat Varshini Tika and the Rasik Ranjan, which is the sub commentary to the Sarat Varshini. But right now we have been going through the overviews of chapter 1 to 6, and it's not just an overview. We are quite briefly touching on each of the verses so that we get the flow of the perspective how Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is presenting his Gita. So yesterday we saw aparyaptam tadasmakam. He aparyaptam takes it not as immeasurable or our force is unlimited, but it is insufficient or inadequate because based on rasa, the Pandavas had more rasa to fight, the more will. He goes to the heart of this whole verse. And then how Bhishma, should be protected. Bhishma hearing this, enough of politics, and he plays his conch shell. The enthusiasm of Pandavas, then the signs of victory we saw in few verses, and then Arjuna tells Krishna to move his chariot in between the both armies. And then Krishna does that. Gudakesha. We saw the Rasik commentary of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti on Gudakesha. One who gives pleasure to even Brahma, Shiva, and Vishnu because they are Guna avatars and they are following the orders of Krishna. And their master, the Guna avatar's master, is now become the servant of his devotee Arjuna out of prema. So that's how Vishwanath Chakravarti's commentary is very, very unique. So that's the Rasika explanation of Gudakesha. The philosophical explanation is that one who's free from ignorance. That means one who's completely free from sleep and is always conscious of Krishna in Jagrata, Swapna, and Sushupti. So at least in Jagrata Avastha, we should be always conscious, of Krishna. Then in the Swapna, slowly it can happen, that every day night we read Krishna books so that we get only Krishna's dreams. And seeing now, his all his relatives, he's put in illusion and Kripaya Aparaya Vishto Vishidantam, he starts lamenting. And then he starts speaking his, compassion out of compassion. But this compassion is material compassion born of bodily conception or bodily consciousness. And, the symptoms on the body manifest. And then he gives the second reason that, what is the use of getting the kingdom and even Trailokya Rajasya when all my relatives are killed? So, not to fight because of enjoyment. Now we come to the third reason, which is from verses 36 to 38. पापमेवाश्रये तस्मात् हत्वैतान् आततायिन तस्मान्नारः वयं हन्तुं धातराष्ट्रान् स्वबान्धवान् स्वजनं हि कथं हत्वा सुखिनः श्याम माधव. In killing these aggressors, etan atatayina hatva. Atatayina means actually those who are aggressors. Now, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur quotes from the, you know, uh, from the Manusmriti that those who are Atatayin, who are these Atatayin? The six kind of aggressors. And he quotes that from the Vashishta Smriti, and then he quotes from the Manusmriti that if Atatayinas are killed, there is no sin. But he says in killing these aggressors, we will incur only sin. Now, Arjuna thinks he's very intelligent. Although Manusmriti says that Atitayana killers, there is no sin, but these are special. These are not enemies. These are our own relatives. So killing them, we will definitely incur sin. Therefore, we should not kill. Tasma nahare vayam hantum. Hantum means to kill. Vayam means we should not. The sons of Dhritarashtra with their relatives. Dhatarashtran swabandhavan. So the specific aggressors are here our own relatives. And that's why there will be sin. Manu Samhita says, if you kill aggressors, like a thief comes in your home and he attacks you and he tries to kill you, then you can, in protecting yourself, you can kill, or you shoot him. Then you'll not be even tried in the court of law, when it is proved. You'll be released, in fact. But, sorry, yeah, 1 second. The adapter fell. Yeah. So, uh, so the enemy comes or a thief comes, and if you kill him, then that's not a problem, and they are aggressors. Sorry. Hmm. They're aggressors, and there is no sin in killing the aggressors. But here there are these special aggressors who are these own relatives, and that's why there will be sin. Oh Madhava, how can we live happily? Katam Sukina Shama, having killed our own relatives, Swajanam. So all this is all Swajanam, Swabandhavan. It's all exhibiting Arjuna's bodily consciousness of life, uh, killing acharyas will, incur sin, and we cannot be happy killing our own relatives. Now he speaks further, you know, uh, destruction of family tradition. Actually, yeah, this is 36 to 38. 36 is there. 37, 38. Okay. यद्यप्येतेन पश्यन्ति लोभोपहत चेतस कुलक्षयकृतं दोषं मित्रद्रोहे च पातकम् कथं न गेयम् अस्माभिः पापादस्माद् निवर्तितं कुलक्षयकृतं दोषं प्रपश्यद्भिर्जनार्दन. So, yadi api ete means all this. Na pashanti. Are Arjuna, Krishna might say, you are not ready to kill them, but they are ready to kill you. So that's why you should fight. Because all these Kauravas, na pashanti. They are not able to see that killing our, own relatives, there is dosha of kulashaya kritam. Because their own family members will be killed, then the Kula religious practices will all be destroyed. Why? They are not able to see Lobo Pahata Chetasa, because their consciousness is, covered by lobe for the kingdom. Katamcha na geham asmabi. How we who can understand this can commit this sin, papa. So in one sense, 37 and 38 speak about both papa as well as destruction of family. The destruction, both are connected, because the killing of the aggressors is a sin, but killing of these aggressors is the own family relatives, where there will be kulashaya kritam. Kulashaya kritam dosham prapashyadbir janardana. Even if they yadi api ete, overcome by greed, lobopahata chetasa, do not see, na pashanti. Seeing here means again seeing intellectually, not physical seeing. The fault of destroying the family, kulashya kritam dosham, and the sin of killing friends, mitra drohe cha patakam. Should we not, katamna asmabi, who see the fault of destroying the family, kulashya kritam dosham prapashyadbir, know how to withdraw from this sin, asmat papad nivartutam geham. We should withdraw, because not only is it sin, but it is which is committed within the family traditions also will be destroyed. Oh Janardana. So again, he speaks about Janardana, and Jana and Ardhana means killer of all living entities. He's sarcastically addressing another meaning of Janardana, which means, not the maintainer of people, but, the killer of all living entities. Jana Ardhana. You are Jana Ardhana. If you want, you kill all of them. Why are you telling me to kill? That's Arjuna's argument. Now, the last one will come up. It's the destruction of the family, which is the connection is already established in the previous verses. Okay. So let us see now. कुलक्षय प्रणश्यन्ति कुलधर्म सनातना धर्मे नष्टे कुलं कृष्णम अधर्मोऽपि भवत्युत. With the destruction of the family, kulashaya. Now, already kulashaya was spoken because there is pap in killing the family members, and the destruction of family tradition will happen. But with the destruction of family tradition, what happens? The eternal proper conduct of the family, sanatana kula dharma. So here Arjuna thinks that kula dharma itself is sanatan dharma, you know, whatever family traditions. But there is a sanatan dharma of the soul, which is called as the jaiva dharma, the dharma of the jiva, which is pure devotional service. But this kula dharma is based on the kula in which you are born, like the Brahmana kula, Kshatriya kula, Vaishya kula. That is based on the designation of your subtle body, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya. These are all designations. But this is the upadhi of the soul. This is upadhi of the subtle body. So this is the pure dharma of the soul. But this is covered dharma, you can say, because of conditioning. But he is saying now this itself is Sanatan Dharma. So, Dharma Kula Sanatana is destroyed, Pranashanti. When that Dharma is destroyed, Dharme Nashte, the family Kulam is completely filled with Adharma. Adharmo Abhibhavat Uta Krishnam. Completely. Krishnam means completely. So that's what the right conduct maintained in the family, which is passed down from many generations, Sanatan Kula Dharma. So many generations it is referring Sanatan, and it is not the Sanatan Dharma of the soul, which is pure devotional service, will be destroyed. Adharmabhivavat Krishna pradushyanti kula striya strishu drustashu varshneya jayate varna sankara. From prevalence of adharma abhibhavat means adharma bhavat means when it manifests or it becomes prominent. But the prevalence of adharma, the women of the family become contaminated. Pradushyanti kulastriya. O king, O Krishna, when the women are spoiled, strishu dushtashu varshneya, mixed varnas arise. Jayante varasankara. So, when adharma is prevalent, the women of the family become spoiled, pradushyanti, and they become adulterous. And that's why with that combination, the children who are born, they'll be not having the samskars and they'll be Varna Sankara. Sankaro naraka kulajnanam kulasya cha patanti pitaro hiesham lupta pindodaka kriya. Mixed caste in the family, kulasya shankara, brings hell for those who have destroyed the family members. Kulajnanam narakaya eva. Because in today's world you are all familiar, the boy and girl, just based on attraction, they don't see what traditions the family boy is coming or the girl, different castes are there, and the consciousness is quite different. They compromise on spiritual principles. Sometimes they don't follow any regulatory principles of meat eating, so many things. So, because of this mixed marriages, what will happen? They will all not follow the family traditions. So, the family traditions, kulagyana, narakayeva, it's as good as, that brings hell to those who have destroyed the family members. The forefathers fall. Patanti pitrohi esham. They fall, being deprived of pinda and water offerings. Lupta pindodaka kriya. So because they get married in that families and they follow those traditions, so they forget to offer the shrad and the pinda. And the forefathers who are, dependent on these things carried out in their generations, they don't get the merits and they fall down, So how important it is, दोषेरेते कुलज्ञानं वर्णसङ्करकारके उत्सादन्ते जातिधर्मा Kula dharmasya shashvata. Both caste and family rules. Now here again you have to understand there is kula dharma and jati dharma. So caste and family rules. Now just to distinguish caste, you know, I might be coming from the Kshatriya, you know, race. But in Kshatriya also there are different kinds of families you are born in. You might be a Rajput Parivar, or you might be a Rajasthani, you know, you know, like that, and there are many others, or I'm taking Maharashtra Shivaji line, I'm just giving this. Of course, this is not exactly what Manu Samhita says. Manu Samhita has different categories. All that technical classification is very intricate, very systematic. I'm just giving in a modern context. So each of these families, also within the families, different families, they will have different rules, family rules. So there's this rules within the family. So there's both Jati Dharma and Kula. And he's again saying they're Shashvata, as though there's the eternal Dharma. But the eternal Dharma of the soul is pure devotional service, are destroyed, Utsadante, by this fault of mixed varnas, Ete doshe. So these are the doshas caused by killers of family members. Varna Sankara Karake Kulagyanam. So the family rules and the caste rules will be destroyed. उत्सन्न कुल धर्मानां मनुष्याणां जनार्दन नरके नियतं वासो भवत् इत्य अनु शुश्रुमा. O Janardhan, we have heard iti anu shushuma. Here anu means hearing in the parampara, following the Guru Shish parampara, that those men whose family rules are destroyed, utsanna kula dharmana manushanam, live in hell permanently. Narake niyatam vasa bhavati. So narake niyatam. And also it is not that somebody lives in hell eternally. After the particular punishment is over, he'll gradually evolve to different species of life as the consciousness evolves. But here at least Arjuna is saying that he is quoting authority. You know, we have heard from authoritative sources. That's how the highest authority is hearing from the Shabda, the Vedas, from a bona fide Guru, spiritual master. Now, this thing now really weighs heavy on Arjuna's mind. And then he speaks this verse, Aho bata mahat papam kartum vyavasita vayam yad rajasukalobena hantum swajanam udyata. We are intent on committing great sin. Aho bata mahat papam kartum vyavasita vayam. We are committing a great sin since we are ready to kill our own people. Yad swajanam hantum udyata, for gaining happiness of the kingdom. Rajasukha lobena. Now Arjuna decides, even if now they attack me with the weapons, I will not take weapons. Let them kill me, but I will not fight. He has become Sarva Dharman Parityaja to his family members. This is, we have to be surrendered. Either it is surrender out of love to Krishna, or surrender, force surrender because of the laws of material nature, you know. यदि माम अप्रतीकारम अशस्त्रम शस्त्रपाणय धातराष्ट्रस्य रणे हन्यु तन्मे क्षेमतरम भवेत्. It would be better for me. Tadme shemataram bhavet. What is shema better? If the sons of Dhritarashtra, yadi dhatarashtra, weapons in hand, shastra panaya, panaya means in the hand, shastra means the weapons, were to kill me, mam rane hanyu, hanyu means to kill me in the war, without weapons, ashastram, I am without weapons and without opposition, apratikaram, I will not oppose. So this is Arjuna. This is what has, caused him, the moha, and it is done by Krishna's Yogamaya arrangement, and Arjuna is put in Mahamaya. Oh, sorry, Mahamaya it is. And then he falls in such illusion and lamentation, and he's concluded now, let them kill me, I will not oppose, and I'll be without weapons, and it is better, Shimataram, you know. So this is Arjuna's state, on the battlefield. Can you imagine, what, a Kshatriya warrior, he's completely reduced, he's completely become bewildered. This is how Maya is. We can see that now in Arjuna's condition. So the same Arjuna, when he surrenders to Krishna and follows, he does Sarva Dharman Parityaja, and in the battle, Arjuna, Karna's, chariot is struck, and while he's taking his chariot wheel out, he's without weapons, Karna, and Krishna orders Arjuna, shoot, and Arjuna shoots. Actually, Kshatriya code of conduct is, when the opponent warrior is without weapons, you cannot, you know, he has to also be with weapons. But he breaks that and follows the order of Krishna because that was Sarvadharman Parityaja. But now he is completely opposite. He is surrendered to his relatives and let them kill me. But I will not raise my weapons and I will not oppose them. Apratikaram. Now Sanjay narrates this in the last verse, the situation of Arjuna. Sanjaya vacha eva muktva Arjuna sanke ratopastya upavishat Vishrujam sharam chapam shokasam vignamanasa. Speaking in this manner, evam muktva, Arjuna, giving up his bow and arrows. Visrujya sharam chapam, mind disturbed with lamentation. Shokasam vignamanasa, sat down on his chariot. Rata upasta upavishat. Upavishat means to sit. And he was actually standing on the chariot, but the stress on his head was so much, sometimes, a very near and dear one leaves the world, na, who is very dear to our heart, na. Hearing that news, your heart is struck with lamentation and the emotions which come out, you might, physically take your hand on your head and then because you cannot handle you collapse and you just sit down. So this is Arjuna's situation. So highest level of stress management he's feeling here, and Krishna is going to relieve the stress by instructing Arjuna, you're not this body, you're spirit soul in the second chapter. Amidst the warriors assembled for battle. Sanke means they had come to fight. So, sorry. So Arjuna, who had taken a vow that anyone who tells, to keep his Gandiva bow, down, he will kill him. And it so happened that, when Abhimanyu was killed, Arjuna took a vow that he will kill Jayadratha. And that day, Arjuna was like, Krishna was driving the chariot at the speed of mind. And practically, there was huge massacre happening, and he was trying to reach Jayadratha. And there was a huge array of armies protecting him with a special Yud Rachana. But he was breaking one after another. But somehow he heard that Yudhishthira is injured. So he left the battlefield and came, you know, and Yudhishthira seeing Arjuna, you have left the battlefield and come. He actually told, shame on you, you have give up your Gandiva. So moment he had taken a vow that anyone who tells him to give up the Gandiva, he will kill him. So now he had to kill his brother Dhritarashtra. So Krishna gave a plan that you can kill a person by speaking ill about him or chastise him and criticizing him. So Arjuna started doing that, and later on he fell at the feet of Yudhishthira. He took his Gandiva bow and went back in the battlefield. So Arjuna, who had taken this vow that anyone who tells him to keep his Gandiva bow down, he will kill him. And now Vishrujam Sacharam Chapam, he gave up his bow and arrow. That was the kind of lamentation he went into. That is how Arjuna became on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So this is narrated by Sanjay. So that ends the overview of first chapter, which took us 2 classes. And I presume that the second chapter is quite bigger. It will take us at least 3 classes, I feel. So let us see how things go. But before we start the overview of second chapter, Uh, Let us see if devotees have any questions. So, any questions, any clarifications anyone has about up till now what we have discussed in the first chapter overview? Any questions? No questions? Okay, so then we will go to the second chapter now. The second chapter overview. We'll just briefly touch again only the verses. So, verses 1 to 10, Arjuna's further doubts and surrender. So, I'll take up this. Now, Sanjay is further narrating. Tam tataya kripaya avishtam Ashrupura purna kulekshanam Vishidantam idam vakyam Vacha Madhusudana. Sanjay said, Madhusudan spoke these words to Arjuna. Tam tata idam vakya vacha. Now, he has given up his bow and arrow, and now Krishna is speaking. And Sanjay is narrating what Krishna is going to speak. And what is Arjuna's condition? Whose eyes were filled with tears. Ashru Purna Akula Ikshanam. Ikshanam is the eyes, and Ashru means tears, and tears which were brimming, they were coming out continuously, like Vyakul, Vyakul means when one is very, very in anxiety, and Akul is, because of this lamentation, and for a Kshatriya, that to cry, it's not heard. And then to cry on a battlefield in front of all other kings. Can you imagine what kind of an illusion Arjuna must have been put on? This is how Krishna's Maya is, was overcome with compassion. Kripaya avishta vishidantam. So Prabhupada in his purport goes on to explain that material compassion is senseless, he says. It's senseless. Just like, a person is drowning and you go and you save his shirt and pant, and you get that and come out and tell, no, I've saved a person. No, you've not saved him, you've saved his shirt and pant. But the real person is there, his body is there. Similarly, this gross and subtle body is like the, uh, coat and pant, or the inner wear and the outer wear. We have inner garments and outer garments, right? So gross and subtle bodies are like that. The real thing is the soul. And compassion should be to the soul. So compassion for the body is senseless. Just like trying to save a person's coat or a shirt and not saving the person himself. So Arjuna's compassion was misdirected. That's what Prabhupada says. Of course, Vishwanath Chakra Thakur mentions how Krishna is going to destroy Arjuna's bewilderment and lamentation by speaking Sankhya Yoga, and then he will speak about the characteristics of a Sthita Pragya, which will come from verses 2.55 to 72. Okay, text 2. Now, Krishna is speaking, although he's speaking Sri Bhagavan Vacha, but still he's speaking as a friend because Arjuna has not surrendered to Krishna and accepted him as a spiritual master. Sri Bhagavan Vacha Kutastva Kashmalam Idam Vishame Samapastitam Anarya Jushtam Aswargam Akirtim Karanam Arjuna. The Lord said, how has this bewilderment, Kuta Kashmalam Idam, come upon you? Tvam Samapasitam, at the time of battle, Vishame. It is against Dharma, Anarya Jushtam, in precluding Swarga in the next life, Aswargyam, and fame in this life, Akirtim Karanam. So Krishna is basically giving what is called as a pep talk, 5-minute talk, where some demonstration, somebody, gets up and in order to cheer the crowd, he speaks, or imagine, in a cricket match between India and Pakistan, there's the last ball and the captain is playing and he has to hit a six because we need 5 runs to win. And then he goes into depression and, he's not able to hold his bat and is shivering. And the coach will come running and he'll tell, Kutastva Kashmalam Idam, where has this impurity, contamination come at this point on the cricket field? So on the battlefield, when the war is just about to begin? How has this bewilderment, kashmalam, this contamination come upon you? You know? So it is anarya, those who know spiritual values and who live a life based on progressive spiritual progression, understand that there is life after death. They are called as anarya. And they know, especially Kshatriyas who perform sakama karma, they know that it will not lead to swarga and fame in this life, because that's what people look in the mode of passion, fame, enjoyment in this life and the next life. क्लैब्यम्मास्म गमः पार्थ नैतत्त्वयि उपपद्यते शुद्रं हृदय दौर्बल्यं त्यक्तोत्तिष्ठः परन्तप. Do not become a coward. Klaibyamma sma gama. This is not suitable to you. Na etattvai upapadyate. Give up tektva, this low weakness of mind. Shudram hridaya daurbalyam. And rise, uttishta, O afflictor of enemies. Parantapa. Parantapa he is addressed here because Paran tapayati itan parantapa. Paran means others. Tapayati means to give heat or to give pain. Iti parantapa. You give pain to your enemies. You are parantapa. And now you have become hridaya daurbalyam. Because of this weakness of heart, because of attachment to body and bodily expansions. This is shudram. This is low-mindedness, low weakness. Don't become a coward, Clybium, calling a Kshatriya a coward, that on the battlefield, Arjuna, this is not suitable. Nahi etatvaya upapadyate. So give up, Hmm. This bewilderment is not to be experienced by persons with good reputation, who are anarya, and it is against the happiness of next life, aswargyam, and this life, akirtim. Hmm. Give up this. Don't become a coward. And Arjuna might say, do not worry about my lack of bravery. Do not think that I'm a coward. I'm considering the precepts of dharma with regard to Bhishma, Drona, and elders, and the compassion towards Dhritarashtra. Because they are weaker and they are about to die because of being afflicted by weapons. And Krishna says this is not discretion based on dharma, nor it is mercy. It is because of bewilderment and lamentation. Shoka, moha and shoka. Moha leads to shoka. If you are not in moha, then you will not be in shoka. And this is because of hridaya dhaurbalam, shudram. This is the weakness of the mind. Therefore, rise up, give up this weakness of the mind, rise up and fight. Now, Arjuna, instead of rising up and raising his weapons, he raises his voice because he is not accepted Krishna as a spiritual master, no? So he raises his voice and replies back, no? So this reply is there in text 4. Is there in Katam Bhishmam Maham Sanke Dronam cha Madhusudana Ishubhi Pratiyotsyami Pujarav Arisudana. Arjuna said, O Madhusudan, killer of enemies, Arisudan. So he's addressing Madhusudan. He is the killer of enemies. How will I fight with arrows? Katam aham ishubi prati yotsyami. Prati yotsyami. Yotsyami means to fight. Prati yotsyami means counter fight. They throw arrows. You have to counter those arrows. So that's what is prati yotsyami. Ishubi means the arrows. And how I can fight? In the battle, Sanke against Bhishma and Drona. Bhishma Dronam cha, who are worthy of worship. Puja arhava. In fact, I should offer flowers at their feet. And now you're telling me to fight against these great personalities like Bhishma and Drona. Hmm. So here again a Rasik explanation comes. You are Madhusudan because ultimately Krishna who was born, he was born in the Madhu dynasty. And you're Madhusudan, you're killer of. Are you accusing me that I'm the killer of King Madhu? No. You are the killer of that enemy, Kaitab and Madhu and Kaitab were initially, actually Vishnu killed them. But ultimately, Krishna and Vishnu is there within Krishna, and Krishna and Vishnu are not different. So you are the killer of enemy, Madhusudan, not within your dynasty. But why are you telling me to kill my own family members who are like Bhishma and Drona, who are not my enemies, and they're worthy of worship. And actually, Arjuna says, those according to dharma, those, who are worthy of respect, uh, and if you kill them, there'll be bondage. Therefore, I'm going to withdraw. How can I kill them? But they are ready to fight. Why are you not ready to fight? Because they are worthy of worship. Puja Rava. I should offer flowers in devotion to them. Hmm? And even if they injure me in the battle, I am not going to injure them. Are you going to fight or injure your spiritual master Sandipani Muni? Huh? Or your Madhusudan, killer of Madhu? Oh, you mean I am the killer of my descendant Madhu in the Yadu dynasty? No, no. I mean, not that Madhu. I am speaking about the demon Madhu who was their enemy. But these are not my enemies, Bhishma and Drona. Now, further, he justifies in this verse. Gurun hatva hi mahanubhavan shreyo bhoktum vaiksham apiha loke hatvartha kamanstu guruni yaheva bhunjiya bogan rudir pradignan. It is better to eat by begging. Bhaiksham bhoktum api shreya. In this life, ihaloke, not killing such great elders. Mahanubhavan gurun hatva. Having killed elders, gurun hatva, who were even desiring wealth, artha kamans too. I will enjoy objects. Iha bhunjiya bogan, contaminated with their blood. So Arjuna has decided to give up his Kshatriya dharma because Kshatriyas subsist on king. They need land to rule, you know. They cannot take up to the profession of Brahmanas as beggars. But now he has decided it is better not to kill these great souls, Mahanubhavan, you know. I'll better live by begging, which is condemned for Kshatriyas. It is better to eat food by such begging than to kill, which will bring infamy in this life. And whatever we enjoy, that will be tainted with blood. But Krishna might say, oh, Arjuna, these are Arthakaman. They desire the wealth, you know, of the Kauravas, and that's why they're siding the side of Kauravas. So they are not qualified. They should be rejected as gurus. But Arjuna says, no, they are great souls. They have control over karma and time. Bhishma had, the vrata, he had the benediction that he could leave this world, ichha mrityu he had. So they are mahanubhavans. So these dosh will not affect them, you know. So I will not, kill them and enjoy objects contaminated with their blood. Now, in chapter 1, we saw compassion, enjoyment, destruction of family traditions, fear of sinful reactions. Now, the next one comes here, indecision, in this verse. Nachaitad vidmah kataranno gariya yadvajayema yadivano jayeyu yave yaneva hatva na jijivishamaha te vyavastita pramuke dhatarashtra. Now, Arjuna completely goes into perplexity. He is not able to decide whether to fight or not to fight. Nor do we know. Na cha etad vidma. Vidma means to know. Which is better? Katarat na gariya. Gariya means which is better? Conquering them, yadva jayema, or being conquered by them. Yadiva na jayeyu. If we killed the sons of Dhritarashtra, yaneva hatva, we should not care to live. Na jiji vishama. Yet they are now standing before us on the battle. Te dhatarashtra pramukha vasita. So this is something which is very, very important, which is called as an ethical crisis. Ethical crisis. Now, Arjuna, as a Kshatriya dharma, he had to fight. And if he does not fight, gives up his Kshatriya duty, then he will incur sin, which is bad. Now, seeing a specific fight which is with his relatives, if he wins, it's as good as he's killing all his relatives, you know. And that's why, what is the point in living after killing all the relatives? So it's as good as losing, and there is sin involved, he was saying. And if he loses also, that's also bad. So both, whether fight or no fight, it's a lose-lose situation. And, you know, sorry, not no fight, fight, win or lose. If he wins or lose, he's both losing. And if he fights, there is, both options bring him loss. And if it doesn't do Kshatriya Dharma, then there is a great sin. So you can imagine what kind of a complex crisis he's going through, Arjuna. And that's why he's not able to decide. So when we are not able to decide on our level of consciousness, then we have to take a higher, guidance from a higher level of consciousness. And that's why spiritual master, that's why he surrenders to his spiritual master. Arjuna's purpose is fight, not fight. Victory, defeat. Not fight, begging, and there is sin. And this victory itself is also defeat for him. So this is what he's in now, completely, caught up in this indecision, ethical crisis. He completely collapses. Not means I don't mean physically. He collapses in his consciousness, and now he surrenders. Karpanya doshopahatah swabhava prachami tvam dharma sammudacheta yakshayasa nishchitam bruhi tanme shishyasteham shadi mam tvam prapannam. My nature has been overcome. Upahata swabhava, by weakness. Karpanya dosho, weakness of the heart. My mind is bewildered about dharma. Dharma sammuda cheta. Actually, what is the real dharma? I'm bewildered. I ask you, Prichami Tvam, what is best? Yat Shreyasyat. Please tell me with certainty. Nishchitam Bruhitan me. I am your student. Shishyasteham. Please instruct me. Shadimam, who have surrendered unto you. Tvam Prapannam. So this indecision ultimately leads him to surrender. So this ethical crisis I mentioned is two moral choices. Arjuna had, Kula Dharma versus Kshatriya Dharma. So if he uh, protects his Kula Dharma, you know, sorry, if he takes part in this battle, then all his relatives will be killed, and he cannot protect his Kula Dharma. And if he does a Kshatriya Dharma, then he cannot follow his Kula Dharma. And uh, in order to protect his Kula Dharma, then he has to give up his Kshatriya Dharma of begging, and that will incur him sin. So you can imagine, either way he chooses, both ways, lead to, nowhere. So that's what is called as a real ethical crisis. So Arjuna is completely now perplexed. Prabhupada, mentions in every point in our life, we are always, facing these perplexities. One should read this purport very, very carefully, although this is an overview, but I'm just taking this because it's so important. By nature's way, Prabhupada says, nature's way, the complete system of material activities is a source of perplexity. In every step, there is perplexity. And therefore, who is one to approach a bona fide spiritual master who can give proper guidance for executing the purpose of life. So, very, very beautiful purport. So, Krishna, takes Arjuna to a higher level discussion of the Jaiva Dharma, the Dharma of the soul, which is eternal, is to follow the will of the Lord. And now the will of the Lord was that this battle should happen and Arjuna should perform his not Kshatriya Dharma, nor Kula Dharma, but the Dharma of the soul, which is pure devotional service. So that's how the discussion will begin with you are not the body of spirit soul, and ultimately the spirit soul engagement in the service of the Supreme Spirit and giving up all of the dharmas. So that's how from here 2.7 to 18.66, the process of surrender and the gradual evolution of consciousness of Arjuna Krishna is going to take to different levels through different levels of yoga, and the highest yoga is the yoga of bhakti, pure love, So that Krishna is going to speak. Then next, Krishna might say, better you surrender to Vyas. I'm your friend, I'm not qualified to instruct you. So Arjuna speaks this verse. Nahi prapashyami mamapno yadyat yat shokamutshosanam indriyanam avapya bhuma asapatam riddham rajyam suranam apichadipatyam. I do not see. Nahi prapashyami. Who can remove? Apnuyat. This sorrow, yet shokam, the shok which is drying up my senses. Mama indriyanam utshoshanam. Just like the intense heat in the summer dries up the entire lake, the intense lamentation Arjuna is feeling in the heart is drying up his senses now. And even if I attain Avapya, an unrivaled prosperous kingdom, Asapatyam Riddham Rajam. Riddham means prosperous. Riddhi Siddhi we say, na? On earth, Bhumo, or even sovereignty over Devas, Suranam Api Chadipatyam. Even if he becomes the king of the heavenly planets, my lamentation is not going to go. Only you can solve it. You know, why don't you make Vyas as a spiritual master? You will have more respect. No, I don't think so. There is anyone who can remove this lamentation. And you have a friendly relationship with me, not of respect. So, how can I make you a student? You should surrender someone to Vyas, whom you have reverence. No, I do not see anyone at all. Nahi prabhashyami Apnuyat. In the three worlds, who can remove my sorrow. That's why I'm full of grief. But if you fight, your grief will go away, and when you get the kingdom, you will be absorbed in enjoyment, your grief will disappear. No, even if I get a kingdom on earth or even of the heaven, my grief will not go away. So only such a person is qualified to take up to spiritual knowledge. Sanjaya Uvacha Evamukta Rishikesham Gudakesha Parantapa Nayotseti Govindam Uktva Tushnim Bahbu Vaha. Sanjay said, having spoken thus to Rishikesh, you know, Sanjay is narrating now that this is what Arjuna spoke to Rishikesh. Evam Mukta Rishikesh. Gudakesha, afflictor of enemies, Gudakesha Parantapa, telling Govinda Bhuktam, I will not fight. Na Yotseti became silent. Tushnim Babu. So here it is very important. Again, Krishna was controlled by the prema of Arjuna, and he, followed the instructions of Arjuna and drew the chariot in between the armies. There also Krishna is addressed as Rishikesha. And here now Krishna will take charge of the senses of Arjuna and give him, transcendental knowledge. And Krishna is addressed as Govindam here because I have mentioned, our Sambandha deity is Madan Mohan, our Abhidheya deity is Govindev, and our Prayojan deity is Gopinath. Govindev gives knowledge of how to practice or perform the bhakti process. So the knowledge deity is Govind, and that's why there is Radha Govindev, who dictated the Govinda Bhashya to Baldev Vidyabhushan. And Baldev Vidyabhushan, that's why dedicates his commentary called as the Govinda Bhashya, because in one sense, it was directly spoken by, Govinda, the deity Govinda. He dictated it directly. So that's why he dedicates that. So, uh, that's why Govinda is being addressed. I will not fight. Now, I will not fight here means it's not, Arjuna is adamant that I'm not going to fight now. Now, tell me how this fighting is beneficial. So he's seeking knowledge. That's his mood. And that's why he becomes silent. Tamuacha Rishikesha Gudake Prasanniva Bharata Senayor Ubayor Madhye Vishidantam Idam Vacha. Rishikesha smiling slightly, Prasanniva. Now, Krishna is thinking he has shown lack of judgment. laughing at him as a friend, Krishna could put Arjuna in an ocean of embarrassment for his unworthy actions, what he has done now on the battlefield. But now Arjuna has taken a position of a student, and laughing at him would be improper. That's why Krishna suppressed his laugh and he smiled. That's what very nice commentary Vishnu Chakra Thakur writes. Just like, a disciple, he's going through a trauma and crisis. He's going through real trouble and his mind and senses are bewildered. He's been caught in Maya and he comes to the spiritual master offer of obeisance and he's telling his lamentation. And the spiritual master seeing this problem, he just starts laughing, he will become more bewildered. So that's why Arjuna also, Krishna also, controls his laughter and he just smiles, because now he's what? He's depressed, Vishidandam. And in the midst of the two armies, Sena Ruber Madhe. So this happened in between the two armies, and everyone heard the Bhagavad Gita, of course, but the transformation happened for Arjuna and the Pandavas, you can say, in one sense, and not much to even Dhritarashtra, who was hearing it from Sanjay. You know, and the real transformation happened for Dhritarashtra when Vidura came and preached very heavily. So now the next section is Jnana section from 11 to 30. So before we take this next section, let us see if anyone has any questions. So any questions, any clarifications you have up till now, what we have discussed? Any questions, any clarifications? Any clarifications about Sarthak Vernikar Prabhuji has a question. Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Sarthak Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Am I audible, Prabhuji?
Yeah. Very much.
Prabhuji, you said like Arjuna had that confusion between his dharma and his what you
Kula
call
Dharma and Kshatriya Dharma.
Kshatriya dharma.
Hmm.
So he had a confusion, and you said the solution to that is go to the higher authority and surrender to him. So
Mhm.
he we have faced situation in our life sometimes. Even if you go to higher authority, we have to decide like life direction and all sometimes. They'll you just give, I think, that guidance.
Yes. That is why
Should we
even in the
just
end of the Gita, Vimbrishesha Sheshena, you deliberate as much as you want. And
Mhm.
then you make a choice. But ultimately, there is a deeper understanding there that, sometimes, in our life, the crisis can be like that. I'm just giving an example. Suppose you have a very deadly disease of a kind of a cancer, you know, and if it is not treated, it's at the last stage. If it is not treated, then you might die. Okay. And you go to the best doctor in the world. You go to abroad and do the test, and after the test, it is decided. And then the doctor tells you, well, there are, this is the disease now. There are now four methods. You know, this method, if you follow, this is the chances that you might get cured. These are the risk involved. And, this method, if you do, this is the chances, this much is the percentage, and this is the risk involved. And third method you follow, this is this, and fourth method you follow, this is this. And now you decide, he tells you. And you are not so technically well versed with the medical science, and the doctor doesn't want to decide because tomorrow, the doctor might be, the patient might file a suit against the doctor and, he'll be in a scoop. That's today legal system, especially in the Western world. Even in India now, it is quite strict. So then, the doctor doesn't want to decide, and the patient is not able to take a decision, which is the best, which can save my life. Ultimately, he has to surrender to the doctor. Doctor, what you think is best, you have to do for me. And the doctor can do it only out of love. So, Krishna, out of love, tells that highest path is Sarva Dharman Parityaja. But, the knowledge is given, but ultimately, one should get the tools to equip himself to do decision. You know And one should be also Brahminical as he evolves in his spiritual life, and he should be independent and thoughtful also. But in the beginning stages, the counselor knows that the counselee, if he takes up this step, and it can be detrimental. And he has to also be very matured to see sometimes he might try to protect him so that he really does not go astray. And that's also good protection, like fatherly protection. At the same time, he should allow him to move in that direction and learn the lessons, and then gradually come back to track. So a balance is required, and that is an art, and one should. That's why I have an expert counselor, and especially, you know, um, when we are under an expert Shiksha Guru or a Diksha Guru, who is very advanced in experience, ultimately we can take advice, but then we have to get that inspiration from there, the inspiration in our heart, and then uh, and we should follow it naturally also. It should not be a forced thing. I hope some of these points make sense to you. Is it okay?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Of course, this is a vast topic and this is a class in itself, so it's a separate topic, but just I, in essence, spoke something. Okay, Tukaram Mishkin Prabhuji, you have a question. Yes, Tukaram Prabhuji, what's your question? I have unmuted you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
No, Pranam. A small clarification. Um, this purport is slightly at variance with what is in the PPT and in the book. Is it deliberate or
Which
has it
purport?
elements?
The translations, you mean?
Uh, yeah, translation. Yes.
Yeah,
I,
no, we are studying Vishwanath Chakravarti's
yes.
commentaries. So these are all the translations of Vishwanath Chakravarti.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
These are translations of Prabhupada, little
Yeah.
different, little different.
Yes, Prabhuji.
He had the
I suspected, but I just wanted to confirm it
Having
once.
spoken thus, Arjuna, chasten of enemies, told Krishna, Govinda, I shall not, and fell silent. So here you see Rishikesha, sorry. Having thus spoken to Rishikesha, Gudakesha, afflictor of enemies, telling Govinda, I will not find, became silent. So little Vishwanath Chakravarti's Anvay is different. Because
Yeah.
we are studying Vishwanath Chakravarti's commentary, I have taken the translation of Vishwanath Chakravarti itself,
Yes, Prabhuji.
and we are
Yes.
going by that flow. Okay.
Fine. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions anyone else has? Up till now, what we have discussed? We have discussed 10 verses from the second chapter. Now, I feel that from 11 to 20, especially from 12 to 20, is Sankhya Yoga. So let's try to finish this Sankhya Yoga tomorrow, entire 20 verses, which should happen. And then maybe 31 to 54, we should take as one section. And then 55 to 72, another section. So three classes we are speaking for, the second chapter overview. So that's how we can plan. And already it's 1 hour. Usually I take till 8:30, but it's better to finish early. And I felt that we should not start the second section because it is a bigger section from 11 to 30 it is. So let's tomorrow take up this 11 to 30 and we'll wind up now. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भगवत गीता की जय, शील प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय. हरे कृष्णा. Thank you very much for participating. Hari Bol.